everyone, welcome back to my sketchbook series tutorials. I do hope that you've had a wonderful week, and I hope that you have been practicing and filling that sketchbook with gorgeous, lovely sketches. Just to recap, we started off with getting to know our materials. We then moved on to tonal values, working with the pencils from the lightest to the darkest. Tone number one being paper. We also looked at observation and rule of thirds. We then discussed cutting out a tonal value strip of paper, cutting out the center where you could place it onto your subject and make sure that you had the correct tonal value for your drawing. We then went on to shading. There are 4 different ways of shading. We looked at cross-hatching, we looked at stippling, we looked at scribbling, we looked at shading, and we then did the same tonal value from 1 to 5 for each of them. We then did a 10-minute and a 5-minute drawing quickly, and then went on to continuous line drawing. As I said to you, I do turn my sketchbook upside down to whatever suits me when I am drawing. And we filled our pages with our hand. We then went on to contour drawing, blind contour drawing, which is what this is. And we chose several subjects and then drew them without looking at what we were drawing, with a piece of circular paper over our pencils covering the subject. We then went on to gestural drawing and blending and just having fun. These were also very, very quick and very, very good for forcing you not to think and using your memory for drawing as well. We then went on to drawing an eye. It's a realistic eye, not a hyper-realistic eye. And we spent some time discussing the shading and the different tonal values within the eye itself. Today, we're going to look at drawing a nose. I thought it might be fun to continue with our portrait sketches so we can build up and eventually get to drawing an actual portrait. So let's have a look at different types of noses and the shape of them, and drawing, depending on the time, 1 or 2 of them. So if we have a look at this nose, I hope there's not too much of a reflection on my iPad. This nose is slightly what we call foreshortened, which means that her face is tilted up. So everything is foreshortened. You can see that the chin is quite long in comparison to the rest of the face. You can see that we can see the bottom of her nose, which is not normal when you're looking at a person head straight on. But this is what we call foreshortening, and it has an absolute shape here that one can follow when drawing a nose. If we look at the next one, we can clearly see that she's looking straight on at us, and we can see that we have a totally different shape at the bottom of the nose and then going up the sides of it. If we look at his nose, he is looking straight onto us, but you can see the openings of the noses more so than what you could on the last one. We still have this distinctive shape that the nose is made out of, going up into the bridge of it. So let's tackle a nose. Let's tackle this one first, as it is probably the easiest. However, having said that, let's just tackle one and see how we can go about drawing it. So if we look at this, we can see that there is a triangle here. There's a triangle there, and there's a triangle across the top at the back. So let's try and do that. There's a triangle at the bottom. And now we're going to draw this odd triangle at the top. You can also see that there's a ball of light here. So let's put in that ball of light, and then it starts roughly around a third. In fact, at that point, and it goes up towards the bridge. Now, if we measure this, we can see that her nose fits sort of in there up to the eyebrows 4 times from this piece at the bottom. We can then shape this and shape this side. And take this around like that. You can see that it does actually go across at the bottom here. The light is coming from this side, so that side is falling into shadow. Let's do that. Take the nose up. Take this side of the nose up as well. We've got this beautiful light on the top of it, and you can see that this part here is shaded. So let's just put that shade in quickly. There's a shade across the top here, and there is shadow on this side. There's shade across here, which then gives that shape of this part of the nose. There are names for it, and I should have looked them up before doing this tutorial, but I didn't, so I'm sorry. And then if I can find the names, I'll put it into the details. This comes around here like that. Right, let's get our blender and let's blend this gently. You can see that it is just a lovely, lovely light shadow that goes down into her mouth, that smile. This shadow comes around here. This shadow is quite deep on this side, so you can blend quite a lot. Go up the side, bring it down as you see the shadow that's going across the middle of the nose to the left because of the light falling from this side, which is her right hand side. And then this shadow here, this goes across and up and into there, that shadow. Then we have got a very, very slight shadow around here, and because you can see that that is very, very light, so is that part of her skin there, we need to almost get a very, very light shading all the way around that light source. So let's just shade this part in. Let's do that. Okay, let's go to our 2B and let's start getting some of those shadows in. Whoops. So you can get it onto the edge there. Don't fill in all the shadows. Remember what we've learned before, that less is more, because we can blend. We've got a nice shadow coming in over here. It goes up and it goes out. It's got a lot of shadow around this part of the side of the nose. And then this part here is all in deep shadow coming all the way down. But you can see that there is a light, little bit of light here on the edge. We'll take that out in a minute. And there is a bit of a shadow over here. Okay, if I look at this part of the nose, this has got a bit more tone than the rest of it. And then let's just give it a bit more tone going up this side of the nose as well. Okay, let's blend again. I'm hoping that you can see your nose taking shape now. That bit there goes down. This bit comes up here. There's a lot of shade on this side because of the way that the light is falling on her nose. It's actually quite a nice one to draw because you've got all these pockets of light. Comes in there, goes out there. So this area on the left and this area on the top are the darkest. I mean, my apologies, good grief. You can see that it's Friday again. They are the lightest. That's what I meant to say, the lightest. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our blender across to this source of light here. I can blend up. Take that out. So we don't really want a sharp circle on the top of her nose, because that is not what it looks like. So let's just take our kneaded eraser and pull that out. Let's pull out this bit of light here across this part of the nostril, just on the side. Let's soften that on the side of the nose here as well. And it goes across there. Let's just soften this and deepen this down here. Goes across. There's always a kink in the nostril, as you know, on the side. And it creates a shadow naturally. And then the edge of the nostril always picks up the light, and the base of the nostril picks up the shadow. And there we have our nose. So that's the first nose that we are drawing. You can deepen this if you like, because that does have a little bit more depth there. And you can deepen this just to give a bit more contrast of that nostril on that side. Let's just take this light out. I just want to blend this back down again. You can see that this goes down where just the edge of that nostril, the side of the nostril is in light. And there is our first nostril. Nose drawing. Right, let's move on to the next one. Let's try this one. I know that it is foreshortened, but it is a nice one to draw. And if you break it down, you can see that this is a triangle. And there to the top of the nose is another sort of elongated triangle. So let's try, let's draw it. That comes across, it comes down, and it goes all the way over and does that. It's a very, very pretty little nose. We have the nostrils that are almost sort of bean shaped. That goes for most nostrils. This side even more so than the other side, because obviously we can see more of it than what we can of the other side. You've got the shadow that comes down, and you've got this little piece here. This goes up, and we have that triangle that comes around to the bridge of the nose like that. Right, let's take our 2B again. Let's get some shadow in here. So we want to make this quite dark inside here. Remember, do not shade in the entire area, because remember how much it carries over. So just do it very, very lightly where you see all of these shadows, and let's just blend it out when we start shaping it. This one doesn't really have many shadows for us to be able to blend and to get that real shape like we did on this one. However, let's try. We do have that there, and then let's put this in, which is where the eye socket is, and let's take it across the top as well, just to get a bit of detail and an outline of that nose, just to make it easier for ourselves. Let's take it down here. Let's take it around the bottom there. You can see that this whole section here is in a lot more shadow than the other side is in, so that's fine. We can blend that on that. We can take that down. It's got a little triangle at the bottom there. We can take this over, we can take that down, and there's that shadow on the end of the nostril. You can see here that there is a bump at the top, so let's get that in with that light and shade all the way up to the bridge. You can shade this out. There's a shadow there. The shadow goes up into that area and almost across there. Right, let's see if we have got this shape. Not an easy one to do, but a good challenge. Okay, so at the moment it's looking very, very strange indeed, isn't it? So let's see if we can pull out some of these shapes just to make it a bit more of a nose. As I said to you before, don't put in too much. Be very, very careful how much graphite you put down. Remember how much pulls out and how much you can pull down, or blend down, should I say, from the amount that you've put on, because it does go a very, very long way. Let's do this again. Get that shadow in, blend this a bit more, get that there, get the top of that nose, and then I think I have taken this too far, shadow too far over. If I look at it, she has got a very, very delicate little nose. Take that out. Blend that down. Right, let's see if we can try and fix this somehow. The light is catching it there, and the light is catching it here. And I would say that the light is catching it across the top of the nose. You can change the shape of it as you start pulling out. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly what you've done and where you have put your marks or your shading. You can pull it out, and I would suggest that you do it until you're happy, because I can see that this shape here, if I can get that white line there just around her nose, we sort of have a very, very similar shape. Now I would suggest that you pull out as many of these sort of photographs as you can. There's a great site called Unsplash, and you can use their photographs. They are on there for free, and there's a huge amount of photographs available on there. There are just hundreds and hundreds of really nice photographs. Okay, well, I'm not sure that I have done much of a success on this. I hope that it does look like a nose. I'm right in it, and as you would be too on yours. So it's quite difficult to tell whether it looks like a nose or not. I'm hoping that it does. When I walk away from it and look at it again tomorrow, I'm hoping that I haven't taken you through something that is just really difficult to do. Let's just get that nice little... I almost feel like this is not quite high enough. I'm just going to blend that out. I'm going to lighten this here. a bit more. Sometimes what you see is what it is, and one just has to actually go with it. Let me just move this over and see if it does make a difference, because there is quite a wide gap because of the angle that she is looking at us from. Yeah, that does seem to have made a difference. Let's darken this little pear shape here on this side. We've got this line around here, and we've got this around here. And I almost want to get that shape. That shape is really nice on that side. See if that makes a difference. I hope so. I hope that I haven't put you off. I hope that you find other noses to draw and to do. And I hope you practice as well, because when we start putting together the portrait, it would be so nice that your practice has actually led you and helped you to, you know, being a lot easier for you to execute the portrait with me. Okay, let's try this nose, one more nose, and then you can go off on your own with your practice. Sorry, I've just got the wrong pencil out. You know, I always start with a 2H. There's that shape, and then it goes in across there. I always try and put these shapes in. It does help at the end of it. And then we have, goes up into the bridge. Right, so this nose, quite a nice shape. This comes down and around like that. This side goes up. It's always slightly lower than the nostrils. That comes down. This top of the nose here, this line from the bridge, always goes across the top here. It's lovely, because then you get your highlight on the top of the nose here, or wherever the light is coming from. You can see that there's shadow coming in from there, coming down. There's shadow, probably more shadow on that side than there is on the opposite side. Let's get the blender. Let's blend. Get that shape going around the front, going up into the nostril, going up the front of the middle of the nostril, where that shadow always kind of sits. The other side into that nostril, around the shape of it. Just draw around that lovely bit of light. Right, let's shade the nostril part. Oops, my apologies, wrong pencil. Let's get out our 2 or 4B. Doesn't matter which one it is that you use. Let's just shade the top part of that nostril. Looks like a bean. Let's do the other side. And let's blend that. Get a bit of a darker shadow going there. This side has got less light than the other side has got. So let's get that going. Then we can blend. There's a little bit more shadow here, and there's some shadow here that's happening at the bottom. There's shadow across this part of the nose and here. Don't put in a lot. Just lay down enough. You can always build it up. The first layer of graphite never ever has to be the last, and shouldn't really be either. Let's just see what's going on here. Let's do that. Right, so now if we build this across here, as you can see that has picked up light again, that part of the nostril. Go across here. There's always a touch of light at the bottom there, so one just needs to make sure that one has that in there. His face is slightly side on. That's why the one side is different to the other side. Take that around, pull that side up. There, this one almost goes that way, and we can take the blender and go across the top of the bridge of the nose, and then we can just pull out a few things. So I can see that there's some light coming down here, goes that way. You can just shape, comes out, it goes around here, and it also comes around that side, comes across the top here, over here, and it comes across the bottom. There's just a slight little bit of light at the bottom of the nose there, and then this part here is lighter on this side, so we can take that out. You can darken the nostrils if you want to. It's entirely up to you. They do look like they could do with a bit more, just so that it definitely is a nose, because sometimes without the rest of the detail of the actual face, it's quite difficult to tell, although it shouldn't be. But there we are. There's our third nose. Noses are always fun to do. There's so many different variations of a nose. It's just unbelievable. Let's take that shadow out there. This comes down, and then we've got this piece of light that travels across here on the side. So let's just take that out and blend it back out again, because I've taken too much out. There we go. It goes around there at the bottom. And there we have our third nose. I do hope that you've enjoyed doing this with me, and I do hope that you enjoy all your practices and finding other noses to draw and enjoy doing it. I'll get back to you again next week with another video. We'll be doing mouths in that one, and we will build up eventually to doing an entire face, which will be absolutely amazing, an entire portrait. So have fun, everybody, this week. If you're in a cold area, do stay warm, and if you're in a warm area, enjoy it, because we're in the middle of winter, and I can't say that it's my favorite time of the year, but I know we all have to have it. So enjoy your week, and thank you for doing my tutorials with me.